Venezuelan Simón Bolívar.
Yeah.
And Simón Bolívar says, well, I will say it in Spanish and then in English, cuando la tiranía se hace ley, la rebelión es un derecho. When the tyranny becomes the law, rebellion becomes a right.
Yeah.
So now we are like...
I think John Locke said that first. But
really?
John Locke, yeah.
Right. But, well, I found that in...
Not exactly, he didn't say that exactly in the same way, but this idea of the right to rebel against tyranny, that's in Locke's two treatises on government.
That is the way to try to recover, I mean, the economic road to recover, to reduce poverty of the Venezuela of today. That is...
I don't know. I mean, in the chapter in the Why Nations Fail on vicious circle, we talk about this idea of the iron law of oligarchy. That in some sense there's endless rebellion in Latin American history, but it always ends up with a new elite replacing an old elite. So what concerns me a little bit is, I mean, we emphasize in the book that. What tends to drive institutional change is, collective action, basically. But it's very difficult to mold collective action into really changing society. Look at the Arab Spring. I mean, so the one place where that...
Okay, so you can tell I was kind of messing around with this. I wanted to kind of get a sense for when it was going to stop being so loud. So I think that's probably the right place. And then more or less individually, I'm going to just start making a few of these sections less loud because it's just distracting. It takes away from the rest of the episode. These places where you get these thick dark blue lines like over here and also very high peak amplitudes are generally places where you're going to want to decrease the volume. And if you are going to decrease the volume, especially a lot, it helps to kind of nest it, so to speak. I know that might sound like a foreign way of understanding this, but basically first I'll make this, let's say minus 1.5, then within it I'll make this minus 1.5, and then within it I'll make this also minus 1.5. And the reason to do that is you're transitioning the volume level down and then back up, so it's a little bit more smooth. This would be the same reason why we would want to generally do something like enveloping, so that we could really balance things out. Otherwise, you're going to go from here and then it's just going to immediately drop 4.5 and then stay like that for a while and then come out and be 4.5 louder, and you'll probably be able to hear it. But if it goes down 1.5 and then a second later it goes down another 1.5 and then a second later it goes down another 1.5, without me having to manually smooth it out using the enveloping tool, which if I wanted to would look something like this. As you can see, it kind of would smooth in. And I just didn't really feel like doing that for a number of reasons. First of all, because this is just a little bit easier for me to do in chunks, but then also when I do the enveloping tool, it really, I want to do it for more global changes and I want to save it, and if you do too many things then you kind of have to start moving the markers around, and I like doing it for, as I said, more global things. But you could see previously, I'm just going to undo, you can see that this whole section was a lot bigger, and so now what I've done is kind of correct that so that you can see, oop, those are not things I wanted to do. Okay, perfect. Where now everything is looking just a lot more consistent, not a lot of high peaks and stuff like that. So looking a little bit smoother. We're going to have to still fix it later, but this is making everything